Morning everyone, how's it going? So I'm going to briefly talk about Kamala Harris because this story made me laugh. In trouble in her home state, new poll shows Kamala trails Andrew Yang in California. Now I live in LA, right? And nobody likes Kamala Harris. I was at a wedding on Saturday and I was talking to all the in-laws and everyone there. Not everyone hates Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, talking about Kamala Harris at a wedding made me the bastard at a family reunion. No one wanted to talk to me because I was talking about her. She's eminently dislikable. She's about as popular as a fart in a spacesuit. And she's got a really annoying whiny voice as well. The word on the street, which everyone talks about, even like my missus, her granny was like, oh, she's a slut, she slept her way up the political chain. It's like, I don't give a fuck if she grabbed her ankles to get to the top. Good, fair play to her. You need to be likeable to win an election, don't you? Anyway, says she's in trouble in her home state. This is the Washington Examiner. Kamala Harris is trailing considerably in her home state, well behind frontrunners Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and even lagging long-shot hopeful Andrew Yang. According to a poll released Tuesday, Emerson Polling, not a bad source, found Biden and Sanders tied for first, with both receiving 26%. Primary voters gave her fourth place to take on Yang with 7% support, and Harris in fifth at 6% in California. And it's very easy to see why, right? It's not just because she's got a wonky face and a screechy voice. Kamala Harris is definitely the worst out of the lot of them in my eyes because she's the most flagrantly dishonest. I wouldn't trust her fucking radio. First of all, one thing that people talk about a lot is how she's down with all the sort of woke lingo that all the kids use these days, but she's totally faking it all from start to finish. Like, she's more conservative than Hillary Clinton, and everybody saw through Hillary Clinton. So how do you think young socially liberal Democrats in places like California and New York, how do you think they're going to see Kamala? Like, everything she says is bollocks, and all you need is a Google connection to see it. And guess what? All the kids use the fucking internet these days. I think people of her age, a little bit older than me, just haven't realised that the games have changed. It's not like in the old days where a politician could talk complete shit on the road. Go back 100 years ago. Say what you want, can't you? Every town hall you can say something different and the word won't get out. Kamala Harris is fucking unbelievable, and everyone knows that she's full of shit. When she was DA, she implemented a policy to threaten to prosecute parents of chronically absent students. I think the Washington Post is even trying to spin that a bit positive for her, because the Washington Post is a little bit biased for the left, isn't it? Apparently, she went on a crusade to launch school attendance rates, and she jailed the parents in an anti-truancy initiative. It said after San Francisco, Harris went on to be Attorney General of California from 2011 to 2017. She took her anti-truancy initiative statewide, and some parents were jailed as... What else? LA Mag wrote a piece about her, saying why sex workers aren't enthused about Kamala Harris's run for president. Now, if even the prozzies hate you, you must have done something wrong. But I have actually read this before, a couple of years ago, but the short version, which I know from memory, is there's a website that all the hookers use because they know that if they can have a sort of an Uber-style rating system for the people that use your services, yeah, I use that term advisedly, you can sort of rate them. You can rate cocks like cars. If you know you've got a patron that's not a fucking weirdo and he just wants to get balls deep and then fuck off back to work or wherever he's going, that's going to be preferable to getting gorilla fucked up against a dumpster by a perfect stranger. So lots of scary people on the street, isn't there? So they started a website which basically allowed hookers to sort of like, in at least some way, screen the people. Oh, there it is, look. She twice brought criminal charges related to human trafficking against Backpage.com. But the page was popular with escorts, and I read that she just went in like a bull in a china shop, totally fucked the system, and then massively started aggressively prosecuting hookers, johns, anybody else. I also read that she even did really dodgy stuff, like started paying truck drivers money to report where the hookers were and then sending the coppers in really aggressive to nick them all. So she proper clamped down on that shit. There's one, look. West Siegmiller, a former sex worker and organiser of a sex workers outreach project in Los Angeles, says that Harris's efforts to shut down Backpage directly affected his livelihood. It basically forced me back into much more dangerous forms of sex work, including soliciting clients on unconventional platforms like Grindr that aren't intended for erotic services. Although I doubt Grindr's not. You can't say it's not intended for erotic services. It's where strange men meet and bum each other in fucking bus stops, isn't it? Anyway, a study published in 2016 in the Journal of Sex Research found that sex workers who advertised their services online were at less risk of physical violence or rape compared to those on the streets. So she went in like a fucking mad woman and totally fucked with everyone. She didn't think, like so many politicians do, she just was focused on making herself look good. She didn't look at the big picture and think, let's do a risk assessment. Let's look where this is going to end up in 12, 18, 24 months. Let's see if this is smart. She didn't do it. And loads of people got fucked. That's a good one. If anyone doesn't know that, that's because she banged some, like, I don't know, I think it was like a 60-year-old senator or something, who was married when she was like 29 or 28 or whatever. And call me a bluff old traditionalist, I don't think many 29-year-old women typically want to fuck pensioners, married pensioners. Can you imagine that? Blowing your fucking grandpa just for a job. Even I wouldn't do that. I like to think I'm a stoic fella. So there's loads of shit about Kamala. Loads of it. That's why she's not popular. And that's why she's in trouble in her home state. So if you're a Democrat and you don't want to see Trump win in 2020, I suggest you try and start flag waving for anybody other than Kamala Harris, because she'll go down like a fucking knackered lift. She's got no chance.